Welcome back to another episode of Stream of Thought, and we are on the big...
Sorry, I just knocked over my bottle.
The big 9-0, and we start off by talking about...
So I mentioned just the experience I had on another student film I did, and a few things that I learned.
And?
In addition to that, segued into people that we interact with, people that are assholes. People that are assholes just for an instance, and people that are assholes just all the time. Why is that the case? How are you supposed to deal with them?
And finally, what do we round it up by?
I don't remember.
I actually can't remember.
I don't remember.
We rounded it up by.
You just need to listen. Episode 90, Stream of Thought. We hope you enjoy. So on Sunday, or Sunday, I don't know, I can't remember what day it was. I did another student film for the Art Institute of Chicago, the same school. When I did the different film that I was telling you about, like, it really sucked. It was ongoing forever and ever. This experience was way better. I guess you could say that experience that I had, that was like an isolated incident. Okay, so I did this film, which was really fun. It took all day, though. It took forever. Okay.
What day was this?
Sunday.
Okay.
So I was supposed to be there at 11, but then they changed it to noon. I get there at noon thinking that we're going to start at 1 to 2. I get there at noon. They're still not done with the set. We didn't start shooting till like 5. So I was like, what the fuck? I was like kind of pissed off. Because when I show up, I expect to be there for no more than 1 hour of waiting before we start shooting. You know,
so you had to wait like
that's
3 hours to...
I waited 5 hours until we started shooting.
Wait, 5 hours?
Yes.
Really?
Because then later...
Well, okay, so
like,
what was the problem?
They just weren't done finishing up the set. Like
where was this?
Creating it.
Like,
this is in a classroom, or not in a classroom, but like a little studio at the Art Institute of Chicago. And they wouldn't finish constructing the set yet.
Did they have like a timeline of when they needed to be there, or
well, they had the room booked for the whole day, for a couple days, because they were building it. But for example, a lot of the objects were hung from fish wire. So like this fence in this photo is hanging from the ceiling with like fishing line.
Yeah.
Right? And then they had built that bed, they had built that staircase, like everything is built from scratch. There's some stuff back here to make the illusion look like it's floating, is hung from wire, from string, or from fish line. So it was just a whole slew of things. So I walk in, it's like kind of a mess. I'm like, oh, okay, we're definitely not shooting the next hour. Anyway, I'm sitting there, and I'm like, that's okay, I brought a book, you know, whatever. And I think, like, well, you know what? At least I'm not expected to help clean anything up. So I'm sitting there for a little bit, and then we're in the lounge, in the separate room in this lounge, going over a few things. She's like, oh, hey, guys, I know this isn't part of your job or anything, but would you guys, like, mind help clean us up? I was like, I can't say no, but I was like, what the fuck? Yeah. No, I don't want to help clean up. Are you kidding me?
Yeah.
So we get there, and I'm helping clean up a little bit. Like, I'm just grabbing some scraps. I'm not lifting anything heavy or anything or whatever. I'm just kind of putting a few things away, and I'm just like, what the hell? And earlier in the lounge, she had asked me, like, oh, do you need anything? Like, do you want any coffee or anything? I'm like, no, I don't drink coffee. I'm good. And then when someone offers you coffee, what are you thinking? What do you expect?
Tea, beverage, other amenities.
Right. But when someone says, do you want any coffee, you think it comes from the coffee maker or something. You know what I'm saying? Like this thing over here, right? Like a Keurig or like a pot, all right?
Yeah.
I walk in, I'm cleaning up a little bit. I'm just kind of like pissed off. I'm like, this sucks. Like we're a couple hours late. I've been here for like 2 hours. I'm cleaning up. What the hell? And then someone walks in the door and is like, hey guys, I got the coffee. Starbucks? What? Okay, no. Coffee is different than Starbucks.
Wow.
This would have been a huge difference if you said, Victor, would you like any coffee? Someone's running to Starbucks. I would have said, no, I don't want coffee, but I would like a Frappuccino. So, right?
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So I'm like, what the fuck? And they're like, coffee. And when I saw the person come in with like 8 different things, I was just like, no, this can't be real.
All right, bro. Like, did they ask you what you wanted? Like, how did this go down? It wasn't like, can I get you a coffee or something like that. I'm sure it wasn't like, can I get you a coffee? I'm sure it was like, what kind of coffee do you want? Or like, I'm taking orders. Like, there's got to be something.
That's why I asked you.
You came in with a dozen. Like, you can't. Like,
that
you must have been the only person.
That is why I asked you. When someone says, "Would you like any coffee?" What are you thinking? Like it's just something like the Keurig or like on a pot. You're not thinking, oh, they're going somewhere to get coffee. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
It's like, would you like any coffee? You're thinking the coffee's already made or something like that. You know, something much more like laid back and in a home setting. So when they walk in with these different things, I'm like, what the fuck? And the director was like, oh, Victor, because someone else had asked me if I wanted coffee when we were in the lounge. And then the director was like, "Oh, Victor, which is your coffee? Do you have coffee?" And I said like, "Oh, I didn't order any." And she's like, "Oh, here, you can have mine." And I was just like, "Oh, okay, yeah." Because I saw these things and they looked delicious. I don't like coffee, but I do like iced coffee. It was iced coffee with like milk or cream on the bottom. You could tell it was like tan, and then the bottom portion, like the bottom 1/3 or 1/4 was like white. So it's milk or cream or something. It's like, this is gonna be good. And I see the label, caramel macchiato, and I start drinking it. I start drinking it.
Oh my goodness.
I start drinking it, and I'm thinking, oh, you need me to help clean up? I'm there. I'm cleaning up. I'm drinking my macchiato. We're a couple hours late behind schedule, but you know what? I'm okay because I got my macchiato. And I never had one before. I usually just get a frappuccino, you know. And
you've never had a macchiato.
No.
You work in film and you've never had a macchiato.
This macchiato.
Oh my god.
Having a great time.
Oh my god.
And it just completely changed everything for me.
Wow.
And then what happened was too, like a few people had gotten that order and I'm drinking it. And then because the director, she said, "Here, you can have mine," and she gave me hers. And then someone else was like, "Oh, did you order one?" She's like, "I gave it to Victor," or whatever. And somehow, like, someone had theirs in their hand, and she was like, "Oh, give me this one. Like, I just want a little bit of it." And she drank it and put it down. And then there's like some confusion because this guy he didn't get his. But really, what happened was, the director gave me hers. She took a sip or two of his, but he didn't know that was his. So she thought that was hers. And she saw him drink. He saw her drink from it, put it down. I was like, "Well, I'm not going to drink that because that's the director's."
Yep.
And then there was like some confusion. Like, wait, no, but she said that wasn't hers. But what? And I was just like, "Well, I got mine. I'm good." And they went back out and they got a couple. But yeah, if you had said, "Victor, we're going to Starbucks. Would you like anything?" Or "Victor, would you like coffee? Someone's going to get Starbucks." If you had somehow just made a tiny little adjustment in your question, then I would have said, yes, you can get me this or that. But when someone just asks so vaguely, would you like any coffee? No, I'm good. But, man, I'll tell you, when I had that macchiato, it turned everything around. I was...
Bro, I feel like one of the things that I learned being a pastor, we are a frugal type. We love free stuff. We love being
people or pastors?
Pastors.
Okay.
Pastors. I mean, people too, but... Bro, when it came to any sort of, like, formal gathering or some sort of, like, anything that was relevant to appealing to the senses of the people who are there. You know, whether it's food, coffee, like going out and getting Starbucks, like there are always tokens of generosity that are shown by anyone who is hosting. Like, it doesn't even matter, like, if it's like, oh, well, would you, like, I normally don't do this, but would you like cream for your coffee that I've made out of my pot? Like, there's always something a token of generosity. And when you come to an instance where it's a professional institution or something like that, they tend to be a little more, willing to appease. So when somebody asks you for coffee, like, my initial response is always, well, what type? Like, what are you asking? And the clarification tends to be one of, oh, well, we're going out to Starbucks. It's
Yes.
like, oh, well, in that case, I'll take a pumpkin spice latte.
Yeah.
But, sir, it's February. I don't care. Like,
yeah.
Get me a pumpkin spice latte.
Yeah. When I think one thing I'm starting to pick up on is when people ask you something and they want to serve you, let them serve you. Even if you don't want anything.
Never say no.
Even if you don't want anything, just say, yeah, I'd like to, take some, I'll have some ice water or something. Or
never say no.
Never say no.
Never say no.
Never say no.
That is the key. Because you will get some fucking awesome stuff if you never say no.
And,
especially being invited.
It really picked me up, my spirits.
Yeah,
and my energy,
dude.
It was great.
It was your first macchiato.
Yeah.
Your first macchiato on a student film. A student film, right?
Yes.
And this director was aware enough to be like, you don't have something. Like, would you like mine?
Yeah.
She sacrificed her own drink, dude. Like, would you do that as a director?
Yeah.
Probably not.
I would, I think.
Yeah, you probably would, but
it was great. And then
so yeah, how did the rest of the experience go down?
Instead of getting home, what would have been, let's see, so I got home really late and I had to wake up really early the next day. And it was a great experience. It was fun, and it was an interesting set. And I started getting really tired near the end. I was just like, what the hell? By the time it was like 9 o'clock, I was like, I gotta go home soon, because the next day I had to work at 5 a.m.
Oh my god!
Work
really?
at 5 a.m., which means I have to wake up at least at 4:30 at the latest.
Yeah. And
so we're doing this film. We finally finish up, and I'm so tired. And we wrap things up, and I go home. And the other thing that I learned was, because when I walked in there and when the whole thing was happening, I was like, these people need to be organized a little better, But at the same time, you know what? I'm not in their position, to judge them on whether something is why this set isn't 100% complete, or whether it's not like they're intentionally doing this. Everyone wants to get this done.
Can you explain a little bit more, like what you mean, like stuff was not to what? Was it the set? Was it the people on the set? Like what was the issue that you had?
Oh, it was just the fact that I showed up, that my call time could have been changed. Instead from 12 p.m., they could have said like, oh, you don't have to be here till 3 p.m.
3 p.m.
Yeah. So just like my time being wasted almost.
And so everyone who was there had to wait there. Like, was everyone? It was only me
and one other actor.
So you and one other actor who were supposed to be there for the shooting that was originally supposed to be at noon?
Scheduled call time at noon. Start shooting at 1 to 2.
1 to 2.
Yeah.
And
we did not shoot. She did not call action until 5 p.m.
So it was just two of you.
Yes, myself and another girl.
That had to wait 3 hours.
Yeah.
Do you know how big the production was? Like how many crew members or cast members?
Yeah. It was just myself and the other actress at one, and there were probably at least maybe like 8 people involved, and there were at least maybe like 5 people there the entire time, with other people that were maybe like indirectly involved, like friends just helping her out. But then there were really like 5 people or so so she was directing, camera, AD, set design, so like other things that were people that were actually involved in the project, like officially involved.
Do you feel like you were people adequately were able to alleviate your concerns about it?
Yeah, but here's what I'm getting at is that even though I walked into it and I was kind of like, what the fuck is going on? And I was like, I can't believe my time's getting wasted. I would have appreciated if I just showed up, if they told me like, you come in at 3 or 4 instead of at noon, because I'm just wasting my afternoon right now. And by the end of it, after being there for 12 hours, I was there for 12 hours. I didn't leave until midnight. So, but after being there for 12 hours, I said, you know what? I'm tired, but we're done shooting. I had a great experience, and I'm okay with having my time, what I perceived to be wasted, because everyone's in it together. Everyone is working towards a common goal of finishing this film, and no one is intentionally sabotaging the set. You know, unforeseen things occur. They did their best to try and get to shoot on schedule. It didn't happen. There was no reason for me to be, you know, I'm happy that I was upset, but I didn't let it affect the rest of my day. You know, it was a very short amount of time, and what I took away from this experience is like, that shit's gonna happen if you're getting paid $1 million or $10 million, like shit's gonna happen where you feel like your time is just being wasted. But I learned from this, know that people aren't intentionally sabotaging the film. Like, just unforeseen things happen. It's not, you know, anyone to blame in particular. Just things happen, and you just got to be a team player and just hold your head up and just be positive and just work together. So,
do you feel like the situation that you had to deal with being one of delays, right?
Right.
Do you feel like somebody who was in your similar position, who didn't have your predisposition to like being okay about things, like what?
Totally.
What would the standard reaction be?
Going back to what I was saying
in a situation like that.
Yeah, going back to what I was saying before, you were like, "Oh, what do you mean?" And I was like, "Well, what do you mean? What do I mean?" Another thing that I took away, that you can take away in any part of life, is like, I'm just the actor. I'm not in the production design. I'm not the director. I don't see the angle. I don't see, if there's a problem, I don't see the other angle which these other people see who are at a different vantage point than me. For example, like if you're at a restaurant and you're sitting with people and one of your friends is like, "Oh my gosh, this person is such a horrible waiter or waitress. Like, they can't even get my order right, or why is it so slow, or this or that." You're only seeing things from the vantage point of a patron. You don't understand what's happening in the kitchen. You don't understand what's happening at the host or hostess desk, right? You don't understand what's happening logistically. For example, like with one time personal experience I had, like wine glasses. Like, we had too many wine glasses break over the course of several weeks, where one night we were super busy, we didn't have enough wine glasses. Like, it's not any one person's fault. You don't have the ability to see or experience the problem from a different perspective unless you are either A, just open and willing to try and understand, or have B, personally experienced it yourself. So what someone would do in that situation, I can totally see people being total assholes. Like, what are you, like, I can't believe you're wasting my time. I'm an actor. Why didn't you do this? Yeah, you could have had me come in later. I'm never doing this. Like, you could be a total asshole about it, but the reality is you have no control and you just got to fucking deal with it.
What proportion of people do you think fall into the categories of acceptance versus, let's say, denial, maybe? Like, you've had a fair amount of experience when it comes to dealing with people who are aspirational actors.
Yeah.
Those people who want to make it in a career. Like, you probably have a pretty good sense of, like, what proportion of people,
there's probably
like,
more
generally
people
speaking.
There's probably more people who are accepting and willing to, like, help out. I would say, I'm guessing, in the industry at the top, because when you get there, the industry itself has weeded out all the people that are just in it for the wrong reasons, or people that are complete assholes. Because no one wants to work with someone who's an asshole. When you work with this person every day, 8 to 16 hours a day, 5 to 6 days a week for 3 or 4 months at a time in the year. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, you got to be talented, but you also got to be a nice person. You know what I'm saying? But it's funny that you say that, because this is a great segue into what I experienced yesterday. I'm working, and this guy he says something to me, and I'm like, "Oh, yeah, I can help you out. What is it?" And he's complaining about this other employee, and what happened was, he pretty much was saying how, like, yeah, every time I'm here, or when I was here one time, I have my items in a box, and I set it down, and I go to get something else, and this person just walked in front of me and was putting the items away, and I was trying to buy them, and I said, "Oh, I'm sorry, that happens sometimes. The reason that happened was, no, I don't care about other people. I only care about me." And so I thought, oh, this motherfucker, I should just kick you out right now because you're being such a fucking idiot. He wouldn't let me explain to him why that may have happened. And why that may have happened is because what happens is if you have milk or cheese or yogurt or anything that needs to be refrigerated and it's in a box, people will sometimes abandon it and it needs to go back in the refrigerator. Otherwise, we can't sell it. People will straight up abandon it. And he didn't want to hear that. He wouldn't even let me explain that. And he got all worked up and was yelling at me. He wasn't mad at me, but he raised his voice and his tone, and he was trying to tell me about how business works and this and that. He's like, he pretty much said, what happens is, when you do that, people don't want to buy the product. When people don't want to buy the product, the business doesn't make as much money. When the business doesn't make as much money, you know what happens? The store shuts down. You should meet my friend Ray Anderson, because you two, based on your just incompetency, would make great friends, probably. Just his logic just did not make any fucking sense at all. And all I wanted to explain to him was, I'm sorry that happened. What I just said takes 30 seconds to explain. He's just a big fucking asshole. And so to answer your question, the number of people who are in denial versus those who are accepting, I don't know what the exact numbers are, but like we've concluded many times before, there are way more stupid people out in the world than there are just rational people.
But in regards to like who you have to actually like personally deal with, how do you feel like on a regular basis? So you're working your job at the cashier line. You have to go through like so many people. Like there are those people like, oh, I guess I don't have any change with me, or like whatever the fucking jokes are that they make.
Yeah.
You've told so many of those jokes that people will make over and over again. Yes, you know, like whatever, like but how many people are the exception to the rule that interrupt your day that make you feel like, wow, like I feel a little worse than I did before I saw this person? Like there are individuals who you see. Okay, so
because there are people there.
There
are about 3 or 4 different types of customers you run into. The first of which are the interactions that you have that a majority, they're just completely neutral. I walk away from them. I don't feel any better. I don't feel any worse. All right.
How is the weather out there?
Like, just little things. That brings me to my next. Then there are customers whose interactions you walk away from, and you walk away and you tell yourself, you know what? I would have been good not having that interaction, but it's not going to bother me, right? It's not going to bother. Hey, all right, you're yeah.
What's the common one that you say?
It's there's always one of them. One of them's like all right, it's $3.25. Oh, I left all my $3 bills at home. Yeah, it's so fucking hilarious. You give me the fucking money. Next. Yeah.
That's what I'm talking about.
Isn't it a great day outside? Yeah, bitch. Thanks for reminding me that I'm in here for 8 more hours. Thank you. Yeah, it is a great day outside.
I'm so mean.
Anyway, yeah, there's people that are neutral. I'm just whatever. No, nothing bad, nothing good. People that just make stupid jokes or have dumbass questions where it's like, thank you for wasting my time, but
you're not a harm to my well-being. Like you don't make my day any worse. Like you are
not making my day any worse.
You are a person who I encounter.
Yeah, you're not making my day any worse. However, you have inconvenienced me right now.
Yeah.
There is the extremely rare people that just you walk away. Man, I'm really happy I talked to that person. That's really,
I've had those people.
I was having a really shitty day, and they turned me totally around, and I'm having a great day, or I'm just having an okay day, and I'm now having a really great day, or I've been having a great day, and I'm now having an awesome day. And then there's the people where you're just like, I'm debating on whether or not it's worth it to lose my job for knocking you out right now, or slapping you across the face.
What form does that take for you? What are instances where you've nondescript that you have experienced where you feel like you need to
physically assault somebody?
I mean, to the point where not even physically assault somebody, but just to be like, why the fuck are you out in public? There's no reason why you should be a human being in the public sphere right now.
That's probably, I'll try and be, I want to say 90%. I'm just kidding though, but I mean, where I stop and just say, what the fuck? Less than 10% of the time.
I was going to say, it really seems pretty rare that you'll come across somebody who just really defies reason or ration, and you're just like, what the fuck? Like, okay, so
it's probably it's probably at least like 5% of the time.
I would
it's
say
just like, what
even less than that, because let me tell you, man, when I worked at Target back in college.
But I will so real quick to interrupt you.
Yes.
When you're working in a place of retail, those numbers are fucking skewed compared to just like going about normal in public, because the retail environment, like, just swaths of just stupidity just gather there. You know what I'm saying?
Self-interest. And
oh my gosh, totally. It's an environment you can't really compare
parasitic
to anything else.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, continue.
It's bad. Yeah. It's bad. Well, no, I mean, it goes along with that attitude of you get to see, you get to see the best of people, but you also get to see the worst of people. Yeah. And like for me, when I was working as a cashier at Target, like I would come across those people who were like genuinely like made my day better. It's like, who are you? Like, who are you as a person? And it's like, you know what? Like, I totally empathize with your position right now, and I'm just here to like make your life a little easier. And that's my gift to you. Yeah. Like, I don't ask anything other of you. Like, check me out, do your thing, but I'm gonna have a nice conversation with you.
Right.
And I'm gonna make your day a little bit better. I remember those people. Like, those people are embedded in my long-term memory. But also embedded in my long-term memory are those people who the customer who would come in on a weekly basis and try to trick new cashiers into allowing them to get like $300 worth of products for free for expired coupons or something like that. And so my first experiences with somebody like that is that they would come up with like 2 shopping carts worth, put it on the conveyor belt, and give you all these expired coupons, and you'd be like, none of these are valid anymore. They'd say, oh, okay. And then they would walk out and leave all of the merchandise on. And while you have like 5 or 6 people like waiting in line, suddenly you have like 200 pieces of merchandise that you have to clear off and like get into the bin or whatever to redo. So I've had experience with those people as well. And I feel like it is a tenuous balance to be like a person who is forgettable, a person who is likable, and a person who is just a horrible fucking human being. And I feel like in situations like that, you have chosen, like heading into your exit of the building, what type of person you are going to be. Like, you are going to be an asshole, you are going to be a reasonable, rational person who's going to interact with them as another human being, or you're going to be a fucking, like, douchebag.
I wonder, like, why are people such assholes? I get if someone, because this same guy, especially in retail, you see the same people over and over, so you get to know their personality.
Absolutely.
And there are isolated instances where someone might be an asshole, and then you can get pretty good at reading someone like, oh, when you're interacting with someone, it's like, oh wait, you're not just being an asshole right now, you're the type of person that's an asshole all the time to everybody. For example, this guy that was explained to you earlier, then I'm telling this girl, Amanda, like, hey, see this guy over there? Like, if he ever gives you shit, don't take him seriously. This is what just happened to me right now. And I see him looking through the cooler doors, opening up, and hey! And because the delivery driver is in the cooler dropping off pallets. I'm like, what the hell? And then the guy comes out, and then the other guy, they meet, and I'm standing up there. He's like, the driver's like, I think this guy needs help. And he asked me a question. I'm like, no, we don't have any. He walked away. I'm talking to the truck driver. I'm like, that guy's such an asshole. This is what just happened to me a second ago. It's like, yeah, this is what just happened to me right now. I didn't hear him, and I did hear him, and I said, excuse me, sir, do you need help? He's like, what? You need a hearing aid in there? Can't a guy get some help? So it just goes to show, like, this guy is just being an asshole to everybody. So what I'm trying to like get at or like decipher is just why. I can understand why people are assholes in an isolated event, but just like, man, I feel sorry for people that are just perpetual assholes all the time. All the time. Every day. They're so bitter and angry about the way they were treated or their life turned out or just unhappy. Something about themselves. Yeah. They need to be an asshole to every single person that they interact with.
Yeah, there is a certain level of antagonism that enters into the conversation, especially when you come into like things that are like personal, like even if it's asking for help or wanting something you feel like is yours. Like there is this attitude of I deserve mine, and if people are not willing to accept that I deserve mine, then I will be very angry. And it's I feel like in this sort of social media age that we have right now, the narcissistic attitude that Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, all that promotes, look at me, look at me, look at me, like I am the center of the universe. There is no question as to why people respond the way that they do when it comes to instances of feeling personally offended or feeling personally confronted by a particular slight. It's like, well, it's not just that you, like, said something that was, like, kind of bad about me or, like, you know, was just part of, part of a negative comment, but it's you are a bad person at your core, and you should not have any right to speak any opinion about anyone because of, sort of this backward logic of continuing to dissect your personal animus.
I'm a firm believer, and this is what, when I'm at work, I think about this a lot. I think about this a lot, actually. People that are just any person that just behaves like that, just their irrationality and closed-mindedness, and just people that are just mean and just assholes. I think one of the major problems is that people, I imagine, wherever they go, the grocery store or retail outlet or whatever interaction they have with society that's not with their personal friends or family, these retail chains, the kind of code of conduct is just like, oh, you gotta kill them with kindness and be nice. You know what? Sometimes these people just need to be told, you're being an asshole, you need to leave the store right now. We do not want your business. Don't come back until you're ready to be nice. But instead, it's always just like apologize, like, oh, I'm so sorry. You're like
customer is always
customers.
right.
Yeah, the customer is always right. Yeah. No, they're not.
No,
they're fucking wrong half the time, and they need to be told that. And particularly when they're behaving like a child, then you treat them like a child, and you tell them to leave, and have their time out, go in their car, and come back when they're ready. Because bending over backwards and apologizing is just reinforcing that negative behavior.
Mm-hmm. Over and over
again. And if society, guys, if we just man up, cashiers, I'm talking to you. Sales clerks, I'm talking to you. Managers, I'm talking to you. Everybody out there, if you just unite and just say, you're being an asshole, you need to leave, eventually, I think they'll get the message.
Or you'll be fired. So, good luck with that.
Fuck it.
It's corporate, man.
If they threaten to never come back, I'm doing the store a favor. You're not going to deal with this person anymore.
Yeah.
And in the grand scheme of things, how much money they spend on that individual level, if that one individual stops, that is a drop in the water bucket. It doesn't fucking matter.
Yeah, but that's not the way that the world sort of operates, though.
No, but I'm saying we need to change.
I agree. I don't disagree that we need to change. But you look at... Oh, my fucking God. So, bro, like, you look at such insignificant things that are brought to national attention. Like, things that are elevated beyond the level that they're supposed to be elevated.
Yeah.
Things are meant to be contained to their own, like, local sphere, right? Like, you got a problem, like, deal with it. Like, it's a problem in your town, like, it's a problem in your state, like, unless there's issues of, like, corruption or
sex scandal,
whatever, like, a scandal, like, corruption, like, any of those bad things. Aside from those, I feel like people should be able to acknowledge... I don't know, what are we talking about?
They should be mitigated at a more local and level rather than... I don't know what you're talking about.
No, and I think that there's an element of trying to, like, nationalize a lot of these sort of issues, when in reality, like, most of the problems that we have, most of your cashier issues and stuff like that, have to do with personal interactions. It's like...
Right, okay,
like, what is it... Where is the line drawn between what you are willing to sacrifice for your own human dignity and what is, like, acceptable in being able to, like, be an employee, somebody who is meant to service the needs of others? Mm-hmm. Like, there's two dynamics. One is individual human dignity, and the other is the requirement to fill a particular service. And so, like, there's that tension constantly over and over again where you see people who on one side don't believe that the service providers are providing adequate service, and on the other side the service providers are feeling like they're not being treated adequately like human beings from consumers.
Right.
And all of it is dictated to the corporate level where you have, like, if you, like you say, like, cashiers, like, speak out against this, like, horrible crime that you've experienced. What happens if they speak out against this horrible crime that's been committed against them? What happens? Tell me.
It's not a crime.
Tell me.
I'm just
tell
saying,
me
don't
what
deal
happens to them.
bullshit.
No, tell me what happens when people speak up against their employers.
They get fired.
Ding, ding, ding. Can we insert, like, a sound effect right there?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, the reality comes down to, like, as wonderful as it would be to be able to, like, you know, assert your own
which is why
autonomy, individuality,
to be their own employer and not be an employee.
I totally agree, but unfortunately that's not the reality that we live in. You and I actually don't live in that reality either. Like, we are, unfortunately, sort of servants to the master.
Oh, no, a black man arrested at Starbucks settled for $200,000 program.
Oh, yeah.
What is this about? So, 2 black men arrested for sitting at... Okay, that's old news.
Read it.
Settled with the city Wednesday for a symbolic $1 each and a promise from officials to set up a $200,000 program for young entrepreneurs. The men and their lawyer told the Associated Press the settlement was an effort to make sure something positive came out of the incident. We thought long and hard about it, and we feel like this is the best way to see blah, blah, blah. I would have taken the money.
Well, so they were offering, what, how much?
$200,000 to create a program to help high school kids, like, become entrepreneurs or something like that. The settlement themselves, they personally received $1 each from the city.
And in exchange for a program being set up.
Yes.
Okay. Yeah, that's like... Well, okay, it goes back to the thing of you've never been accused of being, like, a Mexican or something like that. Like,
no.
You've never been, like, attacked as an illegal alien.
Yeah, no.
Like, challenging our country's civil order.
Right.
And so I feel like you, unfortunately don't get to experience a lot of the blatant racism I think that exists out there, and in instances.
Yeah, I've never had to worry about that.
It's like, well, I mean, really, you walk into a Starbucks, you walk into a Walmart, you walk into a convenience store. When have you ever been followed around or, like, viewed with suspicion? Like, maybe once or twice when you were a kid, like
I was about to say,
like,
one time when I was like
totally
8 or 9, it was myself, my brother, 3 other kids walking to a 7-Eleven.
Yep.
And of course they're gonna watch us.
No,
kids.
of course.
Yeah.
And I think that's totally like it's reasonable, it's rational. But when you see somebody who's, like, of a particular color or a particular ethnicity, and you decide, well, they're more likely to be a particular type of person than the other, that's when it becomes a problem.
Yeah.
And I feel like Starbucks is, I think, you see it in Glen Ellen, dude. Like, Glen Ellen tried to ban homeless people from sitting on benches.
What?
Yes. Oh, here's the crazy part. So, the village of Glen Ellen. So, this was probably 5 or 6 years ago. They tried to implement a program that would give homeless people who sat on benches in Glen Ellen tickets to the nearest town out of here. So, like, Lombard or Elmhurst or whatever. Would give them tickets.
Like a train ticket?
To say, take this ticket, get out of our town, like, take a train ticket somewhere else. You are not welcome.
These are just like regular people that a coalition that
police.
Police.
The chief of police decided to implement an anti-homeless person ban on Glen Ellen.
Okay.
And tried to send all the homeless people to neighboring towns so that they couldn't be here. And you see that sort of over and over again.
Yeah, well, one thing that happened was when I was at work, this woman left, and then she came back, and she's like, "Oh, I just want to tell you, there's a man outside. He maybe was talking to himself, but he tried to get my attention. He's a black man. I just want to let you know. Oh, you just want to let me know you're racist bitch? Is that what you wanted?
Yeah.
Is that what you're saying?
Yeah. And I think that ultimately ends up being the reoccurring issue when it comes to...
Like, what do you want me to do with that? So there's a man... What you're telling me is there's a guy outside. He might be homeless. He might be schizophrenic. And he's just not hurting anyone, but he's just sitting out there. And he maybe asks you for money because you look well off and he's hungry. That's what you're telling me? What? I don't... Okay, get out of here.
Yeah. Yeah. No, and that is the sad reality